Okay, people, it is time for the Nature Tier 1 tutorial, or combo, whatever you want to call it. It's really not combos. Let's just call it a tutorial. Okay, so I put here all of the cards that people would put in a Nature deck. I left out Envenom, which people do use to counter certain cards, and I left out something else that I'm not, Mono Ink, even though Beijing guy uses it. The reason I left those out is because they're extremely uncommon and very situational. So don't use them. Okay, so let's talk about the cards. Dryad. By the way, there are people who just play Amazon and Tree Spirit in Tier 1, which is a good defensive Tier 1. It's just lame and lazy to play that, and really takes very little skill, and in my opinion, it's not fun. So I really recommend you don't do it, and you try playing. Once you're playing Nature, you might as well have fun, because it's a very unique type of deck. So let's go through all the cards. If you're playing Nature, you must have Dryad. Why? First of all, it's only 60 power. Dryad Blue, I mean. It gives all units around it 25% less damage. So that's like this, 25% less damage. So if you have a group around it, eruptions do less damage, any attack does less damage. It just becomes really nice to use. On top of that, it does crowd controlling to put things to sleep one by one. So if you're tier 2 and the enemy, you're tier 1 and the enemy's tier 2 already, you can put the units to sleep while you try to focus down individual ones. Really useful. And then you switch it to attack mode, and of course 550 is pretty decent for attack. So all around Dryad is an absolutely amazing unit. We have Tree Spirits over here, which Tree Spirits, right? You root them. Even one, as we saw in the last replay, is pretty powerful with its poison. But once you start getting a group of them up, they become incredibly strong. It's lame. Don't do it. It bores me, and I don't like playing against it. It's annoying. It's very strong, and eventually it'll get nerfed. But anyhow, defensively, sometimes you really have no option. Shaman, if you can use them like Beijing guy, God bless your soul. It's just amazing. You spread them out and you heal your units. They're amazing. You could, by the way, something I found out recently, which I think I showed you in a video, is you can use it to heal units individually. I don't remember how. How do you do it? There's a way to heal a unit with it. Oh, it has to get hurt. Here, let's get these units hurt, shall we? Watch. So here you can use this, and you could do plus on here to heal these guys. And then you can do plus over here to heal these guys. Why they don't automatically heal the ones with lower health, I don't know, but they should. So micring is really important with Nature. Spearmen are very, very good in Nature decks. Now you're going to wonder why. They're just like teeny little guys, right? They're not ranged. Well, first of all, they have amazing stats. 720 health, 792, which is essentially 800 attack in Tier 1. That's incredible. Now, they're small. So Fire has a nightmare of a time dealing with them, as does Shadow. And for 10 power, they switch and they become medium counters, which is unbelievable. So now the Scavenger thinks he's getting a free lunch, and they will tear him to shreds with their amazing stats. So Spearmen are really incredible. And anybody who can afford them in your deck, I highly recommend it. Beijing guy prefers using Weird Beasts. I don't agree. They have much lower stats. They cost more, but they do have Swift and regeneration of 11 life points. So if you're going to use them as your primary Swift unit, then yeah, I guess whatever, but it's too hard to use. Windweavers are a staple. You must have them. The multi-shot makes it that essentially this 480 is really, 960? It's incredible. Don't go anywhere without these guys. Use these together with roots. So you have enemy spam. You do is you try to root them in a way. What is going on here? I don't know why they went that way. But usually you would bring it over here, and you would try to hit just the front one. You know what? There's a bad example. Let's make more of them. Okay, so they're coming in a row. What you're going to want to do is root them, and then have your Windweavers, preferably spread out so they don't get killed by Nasty or Eruption. And their multi-shot is going to hit these guys in single file, it splits up. Oh, they're going to start healing. I forgot they're healers. Anyhow, that's the general tactic. And the ones in the back can't heal. Can't. It's just retarded to watch. Anyhow, that's generally how you'd use Windweaver and Roots. Also, when you have Windweavers, if the enemy brings out shooters, you should jump for joy, because then you just hurricane the shooters. And then you have free multi-shot on these guys, and while they're flying around, and they are going to die very quickly. So this should be your favorite scenario. So Windweavers are great combined with Roots and Hurricane. Amazon is great for, as I showed you, controlling beasts. She's a good Swift unit, and she has really good stats. So she's a good unit to have. Most people or traditionally, people are starting to use Amazon more, but traditionally people use Swiftclaw, because even versus large units, this gives you a 50% bonus. So now you're over 1,000 attacks. So even versus large, that's incredible. And doesn't have quite the stats of Amazon, but with that ability on, he's really, really awesome. So I'd say more people use Swiftclaw, but it's getting pretty close. Stranglehold, defensively, it's amazing because it roots and then poisons. Offensively, if it could be used, that would be amazing, because then at the enemy base, they wouldn't be able to move anywhere, but it's probably very tricky to try to get up. But that's pretty cool if you could pull it off offensively. I wouldn't have it in my nature deck because it seems too defensive for my style. And then, of course, Surge of Light you must have. Don't use it on one unit alone, unless it's like a deep one or something in tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3. And you want to, before you use it, if you have, enemies fighting over here, try to quickly get them all, bring them to the middle, quickly heal, and then move them back to what they were doing. That way they all get the effect of the heal. You'll see a lot of good players doing that. So that's a nice little way to deal with it. Alright guys, enjoy your nature deck. Personally, nature is the most fun tier 1 to play. It's really hard. And once it snowballs into a really late tier 1, it's probably the absolute strongest because of how powerful Roots and Surge of Light are, and just the Shaman's healing and the Dryad reduction. But it's very expensive. So in the beginning of tier 1, you must be really careful how you use your units. But once you can snowball that into a large army, it becomes incredibly strong. Alright guys, see you in the next video.